Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to the Buffett and Beyond Research Saturday Market Recap Letter, February 24th, 2024. And remember, if you want to live on the beach like Jimmy Buffett once did, you've got to learn how to invest even better than Warren Buffett does now. And this week, the market, wow, well, all I can say is what a week. Nvidia took the market to new highs on Thursday, and with their new chip, which is 20 times faster than the previous chip, while generating less heat, is a fantastic investment for data centers. The new chips generate enormous profits for companies, which is why the entire market has been positively affected by this new chip and Nvidia. Taking the market to new highs, folks. In our weekly stock analysis video, Taiwan Semiconductor is a great stock, but is there room for it in our growth portfolio, which contains other semiconductor stocks? We're going to look at all of them as we go along in this video. And our growth portfolio doubled the S&P last year and is also doubling the S&P so far this year. And guess what? Nvidia and some of the semiconductor stocks are part of that group, or a good part of that group, I should say. In our ETF video, top stocks in our top four ETFs, not only beating their own ETFs, but also doubling the S&P 500. And even if you're hedging these portfolios, some of them totally hedged, some of them just 10% hedged, you are outperforming the S&P so far this year with a hedged portfolio. Folks, you can't beat that. Risk is something we think about all the time, and we don't want risk, but we want to outperform the S&P 500. Now, let's look at the S&P 500 while we're talking about it. And here we are, folks. We continue. We came down and we tested this 20-day moving average for the second time within, a week and a half, let's say. And then all of a sudden, Thursday, we just shot up. We have this little gap in here. We have this little gap back over here, too. So we have to worry about that. But the market closed above this top band, and that means strength in the market. Now, down here, the intermediate term indicator is pretty flat, but it has gone from down to turning up now and turning above this red line in here. So that's a positive move. But we have some other things that we're looking at, and let's go right to it. When we look at the S&P 500, we see we got a buy signal just the other day. So this is a short-term buy signal. And we made a new high. So this is the gap that I was talking about Thursday, 20-day moving average, the green line here. This gap up, and we are at new highs. So we're going to come down and test this 50-50 level. That's 5,050 on the S&P 500. Might even come down to test the 5,000 level, because that's where just about where that gap began on Thursday. So yeah, we're looking at that. And if you look at this, because the market did not turn down on Friday, but it was almost flat, and we're looking at this little downward move in here. So it depends what the market does on Monday. If it closes down a little bit, then we'll get a bearish divergence, short-term bearish diversion right here, because the market's making a higher high, and this would be making a lower low. It hasn't done it yet, so we have to watch out for Monday. Now, don't forget, this coming week is the last week of the month. What does that mean? That means usually we get a pit bull low before the market rallies into the last day of the month and the first couple of days of the next month, which is March, of course. So we have to look for that. So we just might get this little pullback and filling in this gap in here before we rally right into the end of the month and the beginning of next month, which is what usually happens and pretty much always happens in a bull market. Which, in case if you didn't notice, we are in one. So there we go, folks. And again, down here, you see kind of flattened out, but this black line has turned up, and we'll see if it crosses over. We'll see what it does Monday and Tuesday. Pretty important days. We're going to probably get a low in there, or a pullback, I should say, during the beginning of the week, and then rally into the last part of the week, which is what we're thinking here. And don't forget, earnings season is just about over. We do have some stocks coming out this week, which are pretty important, but we'll talk about them on Monday. So anyway, that's what we're looking at here. Just take it a little easy. We'll get a little pullback. Don't forget, folks, we're we're up for the year. The first 2 months have been fantastic. So you're going to get pullbacks during the year just because the market can't keep going at this rate of return. And look at this right in here. Wow. And when we look at the QQQs, we're seeing the same thing, except the QQQs fell below that 20-day moving average, gapped up above it. So we are at previous highs, a little bit higher than previous highs intraday, because this red line in here, that means the market closed down, and it did close down 1.29 points, which is just 0.25% really. But we did get that divergence that we're talking about in here with this point in here, this indicator going down while the market slightly went up. So we have to keep an eye on that. And down here, we still have not had the crossover of this black line going into crossing above the red line. So this is what is making us look at, even though we had a fantastic Thursday, unbelievable market, that we are at the end of the month here. And so therefore, we do expect a little bit of a pullback and then rally into the end of the month and the beginning of March. We'll see what happens, folks. But I wouldn't be taking on new positions right in here until we see what's happening this next week. And portfolio protection, yeah, the February put that we had expired last week, and we bought the May 17th put for almost no money. They're almost giving us. And look at this. We moved up because we were at the 410 puts, and now we moved up to the 425 put for almost no extra cost, which means we're bringing the bottom up because we want to be hedged 12 to 15% below the market just in case there's some kind of disastrous out there. So people like to be protected with these portfolios, and you're making so much on the upside that you're really way ahead, even though you're buying these because they're so very, very cheap. People do not expect the market to go down. So, folks, here's another great picture by Debbie with the Y as she walks the beach at sunrise in the morning. Took this beautiful shot this past week. The ocean is nice and calm. Sunrise coming up through those clouds. Absolutely beautiful. Good job, Debbie with the Y. And, folks, you go out this weekend, stay safe, be with your loved ones, have a great family dinner this weekend, and guess what? The market will be open on Monday, and we'll be right here with you. See you then, and stay safe, folks.